on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. You know who it is by now,
Jimothy.
So ladies and gents, it has been such a while since I've made it onto the channel, but things have been a little bit difficult with regards to work. But I'm not going to bore you with the details once again. I'm just going to get straight into what we're doing today. Now, I don't know what it is, ladies and gents, but I am actually just really fascinated by the previous format, that being Despia, Sword Soul, all that kind of stuff. And I've been playing a lot of Sword Soul. I know they're getting support in, I think it's Photon Hypernova or something like that. And I'm actually really into Despia, especially with the Bisted stuff coming out. I think this deck's going to be absolutely off the chain. But anyway, this is the Despia deck that I'm playing with. Now, I've actually took this to locals recently and I didn't do too hot, mainly because I'm not feeling the greatest. I'm a little bit under the weather and I'm a little bit under practice with the deck. I was making so many mistakes. It was absolutely ridiculous, but I did thoroughly enjoy what I was doing. It doesn't set up your typical Omni-Negate board, but it does have a lot of interaction with your opponent. As you already know, it's Despia, ladies and gents. So without wasting any more time, let's get straight into it. So obviously, starting us off, we are running with the triple, Aluba, the Jester of Despia. Say no more. He just basically gets your engine going. I'm actually playing with a little bit more of a higher monster count, mainly because I'm actually playing the Allure build. So I do have Allure of Darkness in this build, hence why I'm maxing out on Despian Tragedy. I actually just like Despian Tragedy anyway. I would always play him at 3, regardless if I was playing Allure or not. So I've gone with triple Tragedy, as well as the triple Aluba, and I've also got the 1 Dramaturge, the 1 Ad Libitum, and the 1 Albion, the Shrouded. Again, just pretty standard, pretty straightforward, to be honest. Next, a little bit of unpopular opinion, I've gone with the triple Fallen of Albaz. Now, you can drop this down to 2, but depending on what situation you're in, I've got this DD crowed a couple of times in testing, and I was like, do you know what, I just can't afford to not have at least one of them in deck. And I actually used this effect to fuse using Fallen of Albaz's effect probably multiple times, mainly because I'm running Dark Ruling or more in the deck, so it does actually come up more times than you would actually think. So triple Fallen of Albaz, again, you could drop this to 2 and put something else in there, but I do like it at 3. Another little change that I made is the Edge Imp engine. I decided to drop it to 2 Patchwork, 3 Edge Imp Chain, and 2 Polymerization. Now, obviously the Patchwork searches you the Edge Imp Chain as well as the Polymerization, but what I was finding was I had it 3 Patchwork, 2 Chain, and 2 Polymerization, and I was ending up with just like a dead Patchwork in hand. It was a discard fodder, which was nice, but having the monster, especially because I'm playing the Despia field spell, seems to prove to serve me a little bit better. So I've gone with the triple Edge Imp Chain as opposed to the 2 of. And then finally, for my light target, I'm running 1 Goddess with the 3rd Eye. Now, the reason I've got this in mainly because of some of the things that I decided to put in my side deck, like Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon for the trap matchup, or Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, which I have been messing about with. Obviously, I'm not playing with Snow because obviously Snow is getting banned tomorrow. So, whenever you, depending on when you watch this, Snow's probably already banned. So I've gone with 1 Goddess of the 3rd Eye, just because it can be Fallen of Albaz in the graveyard, so it can be super useful. So definitely a nice card there. Could be Hex like Sealed Fusion, but Goddess with the 3rd Eye serves the same purpose. Goes without saying, triple Branded Fusion, still an absolutely crazy card, just nonetheless, just super crazy. Paired with Polymerization, it does actually help, because this is when, as soon as your opponent knows that you're playing Branded, they're going to save their Ash Blossom for the Branded Fusion, obviously. So triple Branded Fusion, as well as a triple Branded Opening. I do have another MP22 Branded Opening that I pulled from a tin, which needs to go in here, but again, triple Branded Opening, say no more. The effect to protect your fusion monsters actually comes up more than you think. It hides in graveyard, and people often forget about that effect, so it's a nice little option right there. I'm also running the double Branded in red, as well as the 1 Despia Theatre of the Branded. Now, I do like this card. It provides a bit of like cycling, especially with your fusion monsters. So when your fairy monsters dies, you can summon back a fusion monster, and then if you got a Luba in graveyard, you can summon a Luba back. So it kind of just works in tandem with each other. Your opponent is inclined to remove this off the field just because of the way you can like rotate your resources, as well as being able to bring back Mirror Jade, which is obviously the power card in a deck. Next up for the non-Despia stuff, obviously like I mentioned previously, we're running the triple Allure of Darkness, just a bit of a draw engine. I typically side this out for triple tactics talents and forbidden droplets when I'm going second, but it's a nice little draw engine going first. Double Frightfoot Patchwork, again, goes without saying. Like I mentioned previously, I played the 3 Egypt chains and the 2 patchwork. It seems to work out okay, to be honest. Next, I've gone for the triple super polymerization. With teal elements in a format, they typically end on a Dragos Depalia or make one on your turn. So your super poly is always going to be live, especially as well with your Despia monsters. Being able to fuse with your Despia monster and one of your opponent's monster. And I actually make Titanic Clad quite a lot, mainly because of Kaleido Heart as well as the Telements field spell. It allows me to jump over obviously the Kaleido Heart when it's boosted by the field spell, and it just allows the Titanic Clad to be able to attack because it's unaffected by monster effects for the remainder of that turn. So very, very powerful card, Super Poly. We all know how broken it is. Double Polymerization, again, 2022, still playing Polymerization. Fantastic card, especially with Guardian Chimera in the deck, just does a lot. The main deck, Dark Ruler No More, ladies and gents. Yes, I am actually playing it. I did have droplets in here at 2, but I realized Dark Ruler No More is a lot better. You can pitch it off Lubellion if you've got too many of them in your hand. It serves as discard fodder as well for your branded opening, so you can get them out of your hand if you don't need them, but if you do see them, obviously you can just hold them and just be able to play without fear, basically. So triple Dark Ruler No More. Now I do actually think about putting in a couple more board breakers. Again, I just need just a little bit more testing. I've gone with more gas than the board breakers, but nonetheless, again, 2 offs. We've got Pour by the Grave, and I won't lose to Mystic Mine, Harpy's Feather Duster. So yeah, goes without saying. And the one trap that I'm playing in this deck, ladies and gents, is Branded Banishment. Again, it's another super poly. It's absolutely crazy what this card can do. Just banish materials off field, just gets rid of like Teal Elements boards like it's no tomorrow. They can't float into any of their effects because they go straight to the banish zone or banish pile. So yeah, one Branded Banishment. Next, onto the extra deck. Pretty standard with regard to the extra deck. We're running 2 Mirror Jade. Again, this is your main play, ladies and gents. Yeah, double Mirror Jade. Double Lubellion. Again, this just gets you into your Mirror Jade. Gets you into any of your other fusions as well, especially if you want to make anything else. I'm playing the double Albion. I was actually thinking about playing this at 3, but the reason why I played it at 2 is because I decided to squeeze in the Alba Lenitus. And I'll explain this at the end of the profile, ladies and gents, because there's 3 tech cards that I want to show you that I'm a little bit undecided about. But yeah, double Albion and 1 Alba Lenitus, as well as the Titanic Lad. This actually allowed me to get over a Kaleido Heart once, like I mentioned earlier. Very, very useful. 1 Despian Queritas and the 1 Masquerade, the Blazing Dragon. You could actually bump this to 2. It kills Telements, absolutely destroys them whilst they're building their board. But in saying that, I've dropped it to 1 mainly because I wanted to squeeze in some more super poly targets, which is the Mud Dragon of the Swamp, the Starving Venom, which is probably the one that's most questionable at the moment. Obviously, we're playing Garura, Wings of Resonant Life. This card's crazy, yeah, it's stupid. But yeah, the Starving Venom, I'm still not too sure about. It hasn't come up as much as I thought it would, but just the ability to beat over something really big, like if I ran into like the Arrival at Cyberse at Ignista, it just helps having just a super big card on the field. So definitely an interesting card. Also running the 1 Dragos Depalia as well as the 1 Guardian Chimera. This card's crazy, just clears boards, just absolutely demolishes trap decks going going first. So very, very powerful card, as well as having polymerization to be able to kind of like protect it from targeting. Now, ladies and gents, the cards that I wanted to talk about are these 3 cards right here. Now, I tried to test the Branded Expulsion as well as the Artifact Scythe combo, and you kind of need to play Keeper of Dragon Magic. Wow, you don't have to, but it works a lot better if you do play Keeper of Dragon Magic. I'm really undecided about the Scythe lock in Despia. I know Scythe is really strong. You could potentially play this in the side deck because you don't want it taking up space in your main deck if you go in second, if you lose the die roll. But in saying that, I'm just not sure. Ra's Disciple seems like a little bit more of a viable pick, especially if you've got Despia and Quertus on field. However, I'm just not too sure about it just yet. It requires a little bit more testing. But definitely get at me in the comment section below about what your thoughts are on Branded Expulsion, as well as the Scythe package or the Ra's Disciple package. I'm just like, I'm just not sure, ladies and gents. I'm just not sure. But that is it, ladies and gents. Again, I'm definitely going to be doing some refinement to this deck. This, as well as Sword Soul, are probably the decks that I'm going to play from now on. Not quite tier 1, but definitely a very, very strong, sorry, not quite tier 0.5, but definitely tier 1.5. Very strong decks, nothing to be scoffed at, and can steal quite a lot of games. I've been looking at a few deck profiles, and Despia is still topping left, right, and center, so it's by no means any kind of slouch, and it can compete with some of the meta decks. But I do feel like Tillaments just has way too much gas for some of these decks that are coming out now. But that is it, ladies and gents. So we find ourselves at the end of another video. As always, if you do like this content, you know what to do by now. Hit that like button, share, subscribe, all of that beautiful good stuff, and I will definitely see you guys on the next video. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.